Hi guys, welcome to another Your Health is Lit session. I'm Charlotte Walker, aka the PDMP.
And I'm Yves Brown, and I'm filling in for Donna. I'm a nurse, mom, business owner, and just someone who wears a lot of hats.
But today she is wearing that face. It is so big.
Yeah, I did family pictures earlier, and the makeup is still intact. So I figured, you know what? Let's just
give it up for her beat real quick. So today we are here to talk about it's Self-Care Sunday. And so Self-Care Sunday is something that we're rolling out here at Your Health is Lit, just to promote health. We want to promote health and wellness, right? And so a lot of times in promoting health, people often think that it's only just like take your meds, eat your vegetables, that kind of stuff. That's great, and we want to continue that. But also self-care really, really impacts your outlook on health. And it's something that even long term, we see stress and not having self-care impacting and causing chronic disease in our community. So Self-Care Sunday will be an initiative starting today, Sunday, that we are going to be rolling out, and we'll be sharing posts and tips. It's just about taking care of yourself on Sundays. Self-Care Sunday is something that I actually just started doing for myself a couple of months ago, and it is the best decision I've ever made in my entire life.
And I do something similar. It's not always on a Sunday, just because of my work schedule. I work every other weekend, so Sundays doesn't always work out for me. But I do designate one day a week to just kind of unplug and just do things just for myself.
Yeah, so it's something that's really missing in our community, particularly for Black women.
Right.
We take care of everybody else,
mm-hmm.
and we do not take care of ourselves.
Exactly.
So
we're all those hats, but
we're like
ourselves in the process.
Right. So we lose ourselves, and it's something that we really want to discuss. And I don't think that a lot of people understand how stress really impacts our health. So I know, Eve, I know that you have some great information about like the types of stress, and so I'm gonna let you take the floor.
Okay. Stress can come from so many different sources, and sometimes it's short term, and sometimes it kind of helps us get motivated to do things that we need to do. But then once it gets into like the chronic stages, then it could become an issue and definitely impact our health, because there are already so many health disparities in the African American community as it is. So taking time for self is very important. And it's not always mani pedis and massages. It can take on many forms. It's chronic stress. Basically, it just comes from just feelings of helplessness and sometimes early childhood experiences that were traumatic. And then we also have some stressors associated with health disparities like discrimination, neighborhood stress.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all know of the many things going on in the media that definitely impact African Americans.
Mm-hmm.
That will increase our stress levels just because.
And some of it we don't even notice. Like some of it's like subtle stresses, things that we think that have become normal to us, like dealing with discrimination. I know I was doing some research, and it showed that like African Americans, Native Hawaiians, Latin Americans that have been greatly impacted by chronic stress, specifically from discrimination, they have greater incidences of hypertension and diabetes. And what people don't understand is, I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to bore y'all, but your stress response, there are different like hormones and things that your body has for this, like an acute stress situation, like you jump out your car and there's a bear. Like your body has a process to where you get, your heart rate goes up. It's called your fight or flight response. That's good for like running away from the bear.
Yeah.
You're constantly running away from the bear. That rise in your heart rate, that rise in your stress hormones and the different, things that your body sends out, it
Mm-hmm.
takes a toll on your body physically. And
Yeah.
so people think that this is stuff that, is just up in your head, but that
Mm-hmm.
chronic stress, that constant stress over time, you have more issues. And it's not just, it also, and speaking with discrimination, it curbs our health habits. So in the research that I was doing, I found that perceived discrimination and racism has been shown to play a role in unhealthy behaviors. So people smoke, they drink, they feel like the doctor, they don't, there's that mistrust within the medical professional because of racism. So a majority of healthcare providers are white, and so they don't feel comfortable talking to them. So they refuse to seek medical care because they feel like the doctors are pitted against them because of that that racism and that discriminatory factor. So discrimination is something that we all deal with, right? But it also leads to chronic stress and can lead to like hypertension, diabetes, and we're already more at risk for those things. So managing your stress is something that we can't stress enough, right? So it's definitely like the racism. And I know Eve talked about wearing many hats. Like, Eve is one of my really good friends. So I know all the things that she does, and she does a lot. But we have, like she's a lot of stuff on her plate. There's something called like superwoman ischemia, and that's like a real thing, right? So basically, like we always are on the go, taking care of everybody. These are like concepts that explain the phenomenon of early onset like death in African American women as a response to the persistent chronic stress and trying to cope, like with the day-to-day roles of being a caregiver in multiple perspectives.
Right.
And like us being like you being a nurse, you're a caregiver at work. You have your son, you're a caregiver to him. You have your mom and and those, a lot of those roles, like I know for me, like, before my grandmother passed away, I was I was a caregiver for her. My dad was in an accident, I was caregiving for him, and then I was trying to care for, my husband's here, and then his aunt got sick. Like, so trying to do that and work. At one point I was doing that and going to school, and we're constantly giving of ourselves.
Right.
If the glass isn't refilled, then we have nothing else to give.
Exactly. And you can only run on fumes for so long.
Right.
And that statement is true, that you can't pour from an empty cup. It's so true.
Right.
Yeah. You've got to find ways to reduce your stress and and keep your cup filled, because that's really the best way that you can give to so many people. Is you have to find ways to give and pour into yourself.
Right. So I know that, so here's a couple other things that I found about stress, the health disparities from environmental stress. So you talked about neighborhoods. It can cause things like childhood asthma, which I didn't even know. I was like, what, like asthma associated with neighborhood stress? But it, like, I guess the increased like hormone levels and all of that stuff and the stress response.
Okay, right.
Yeah, to increase childhood asthma, hypertension, substance abuse, obesity, right? Because a lot of times, like, we find comfort in things like food, comfort food, soul food, right?
Yeah.
And so on top of you being in that chronic stress, now you're eating, as my granny called them, zuzus and wham whams all day. And you're eating zuzus and wham whams, and now you're on top of the stress, which is putting you at risk for diabetes. Now you're eating zuzus and wham whams all day.
Right.
That fuels the fire.
And then unfortunately, some of our neighborhoods, we don't have access to some of those places where there are healthier choices.
Yeah. I was watching something on Facebook, Felicia, like by Felicia, the real Felicia.
Okay.
From Friday.
Yeah. Okay.
From Friday, she now has a food truck in Compton, because the area where she's servicing, and it's a vegan food truck, the area that she's compassing is a food desert. And I didn't know that, I had never known that term, but food deserts, I guess within a certain radius, there's no place for people to get healthy, unprocessed foods. And so they label those areas food deserts. But that's what Felicia doing.
Okay.
Felicia's out here serving food in a vegan food truck.
Hey, we need it.
Yeah. I was like, oh, look at Felicia. Okay, Felicia. So even with those things, like, yeah, it kind of perpetuates a cycle. Because there's no access, and then, you know, if you have poor socioeconomic status and you can't get in a car to get to the grocery store, you buy what's close and you buy what's convenient and you buy what's cheap. And it's not always necessarily healthy.
Exactly. Yeah, there's so many things that just stress us out. And, you know, like you were saying earlier about, especially with us women, we just wear so many different hats and do a lot of things. And then,
like I know my mom, when, you know, my grandmother was on hospice, my dad also was in an accident. My mom was working, taking care of my grandmother, taking care of my dad.
Yeah.
You know, I still have siblings at home, like taking care of my siblings.
Yeah.
And so I remember flying out there. I said, I'm coming out there this weekend so you can sleep. Like, I'm going to do everything you need me to do.
Right.
I am coming with the sole purpose for you just to take a nap. Do whatever you want to do. Take a nap. Like, eat some food. I cooked just so she could kind of get some respite, because we are oftentimes put in situations where we do have to do all of it. Like, some people are like, oh, you don't have to do all of it. Like, there are some women who do have to do it all. And so to brush that off is unrealistic. And so our goal with Self-Care Sunday is to just help you identify areas, even if they're small areas, to where you can take some time and kind of breathe and reduce your stress.
Yes.
So I know Eve has some very awesome self-care tips. She's all about the self-care. And kind of really inspired me to like take my Sunday and like do what I can with it. So I know Eve has some awesome self-care tips that are low cost, right? So everybody's like, oh, I can't afford to go to get a massage. I can't, and I'm here for that. I feel you. Everybody ain't able. But there are some things that you are able to do.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, self-care for me may look completely different from how self-care is for you. Like I said, it's not always, you know, mani-pedis and massages. You know, one example would be if there's a woman who, I guess, maybe based on her environment or maybe even her relationship, she's expected to be on all the time, hair done, nails done, everything going to get her nails done may be a stressor for her. So a mani-pedi, probably not the best form of self-care for someone in that situation. It usually is, but occasionally it's not. So yeah, there are some things that can be done that are low cost, free, and small things that you can implement, you know, weekly or maybe even daily. Let's see. Social media. That's a big one.
Yes.
That
unplug.
Stress you out.
Unplug. And people don't even realize it, right? Because we are more overexposed to, like, you know, even though I know that there are a lot of incidences happening, like even recently with the gentleman where that lady busts into his house and like kills him. I know it's there. I know it's happening. But I've really had to use some discernment and some wisdom about following all of these cases. It happens so much.
Right.
It is a stressor. Like, you need to know that it's happening. Yes, I know that it's happening. Yes, I know what's going on. But following every case, every time, that stuff is very stressful.
Yeah. And it can definitely impact your mental if you're following everything, and it is a lot, and it's so overwhelming. I mean, you definitely need to be aware of it, but at the same time, you got to protect your space and
protect your peace.
So
we have a saying that we protect our peace and our edges over here.
I wish I could say that was an original, but that came from I loved it, so I'm like,
we protect our peace and our edges.
Yes, absolutely. So just taking, even if it's just once a week, just unplugging from social media.
Yeah.
Just log off of Facebook and Instagram for a day.
There have been
It'll be
times,
there tomorrow.
right? Yeah, like there have been times where I have completely like deactivated my Facebook. In
Yeah,
particular, like
same.
when I was studying for nurse practitioner boards, right? Because you never really notice how much time you spend on social media. If you're feeling overwhelmed, like let's get rid of some things that you don't absolutely need. Like you don't need social media. I got so much stuff done when I was off of Facebook and Instagram. Like
Right.
I was able to get everything done and have time left and like actually talk to my husband at dinner instead of me like scrolling on my phone because we're not on our we're not on social media.
Yeah.
So every now and then you have to take a sabbatical from social media.
Exactly. Yeah. It's definitely a de-stressor, and it kind of maybe helps with clarity.
Yeah.
Someone suggested once taking a break from it, so that way you kind of can determine which thoughts are your own, because you're so inundated with checking the feed
Mm-hmm.
and getting all these different opinions and whatnot. And so yeah, just taking a break from social media just kind of get you back to yourself, basically.
Right. I definitely. Oh, Eve has an app that you were telling me that you were using that times your social media usage.
Yes, and that was really helpful. I was surprised at how helpful it was. It's called. I need to pull up my phone because I can't think of.
Oh yeah, give it to us. We're here for
All
it.
right, let me. So you can actually restrict it, or you can just put like maybe like a time limit on it each day,
Mm-hmm.
and it's called Stay Focused. How about
Well, look at that. Yes. And that's me, like, because you never know, like, you do not realize. I would like watch a video, then you watch the video, then you have to read the comments, and then somebody say something you don't like, and I'm like, let me learn more about this human. None of that matters.
Mm-hmm.
None of that matters.
Right.
None of that matters.
Right.
I know for some people it's a stressor because they feel like they need to keep up with the Joneses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know Eve and I were a part of an organization, and I had ended up like friending all of these women from this organization, and everybody was getting their hustle on.
Yeah.
I was like, let me catch up. And at the time, I'm in MP school, so I'm like, I need to be in MP school and do this, I need to do that, because I felt like I was behind.
Mm-hmm.
But really, I wasn't. Like, who am I racing? Absolutely nobody.
Yeah.
And so taking that sabbatical and kind of like cleaning up my, some people, we can be friends, but I have to unfollow you because you're like, I are doing great things, and but for me, honey, you're doing the most. And I can't, like, I have to unfollow
The unfriend button can be your very best friend.
Yes. So
Purging your friends list occasionally can be very, very
not
very
to be petty, because some people do it to be petty. Like, oh, you know what? If you made the cut, I don't even announce it. If I go through and purge, there's no need to announce.
Right.
So make sure you're doing it like for self-cleansing and not to be petty.
Basically. Exactly. Like if it's not serving you, then
Right.
What's the point?
Why are you announcing this to everybody?
Right. Let's see, what else can we low cost or free? So I am a huge fan of journaling.
Mm-hmm.
That right there, it can be cathartic, just kind of getting all your thoughts on paper, handwritten, not typed. I don't know, something about writing it out. Well, it helps me. Some people may prefer to use a computer, but whatever your preference is. But yeah, just getting all those thoughts out as they are. You have your safe space where you can just kind of unwind and just say whatever needs to be said. Or you can just kind of reflect on maybe an experience you had, or if you had a particularly rough day. That journaling, yes, that is definitely one form of self-care that is low cost, that someone can take advantage of.
Yeah. You know what I think I like about journaling and the idea of journaling is I always like to write things down so you can see where God brought you from, right?
Oh.
Like you ever find your old journal and you're like, dang, I did go through that.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
okay.
angry.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh gosh, girl, you need
I said that. Oh.
prayer. So yes, I think it's also like a good place, to where in a couple of years, like you have time to sit down and reflect on like things and your emotions and
Yeah.
all that. So I think journaling can be very therapeutic. Another thing that people may not think of, because it's 2018 and people don't think this place exists anymore, go to the library. It has to be quiet. Library cards are usually free. My Jeezy is a librarian, so shout out to all the librarians. There are books. You don't even have to read a self-care book. They usually have computers. I mean, whatever you want to do. And in particularly, for moms that have like multiple children or have children and they want something like, they're like, oh, I can't get away from these kids. You like a lot of the libraries have programs for the kids. So while they're doing their thing, like go take your 20, 30 minutes to just
read a magazine.
Yes, something.
Or go ahead and get that romance novel with Fabio on the cover.
Okay.
That version of Fabio.
Live your best life in the library.
Right.
I definitely think that like going to Starbucks, like just going to those places where it's quiet, get you a drink. I know for me, and I know that Eve also has mentioned this, my drive on my way to work,
yes,
honey, I take care of myself, okay?
Yeah.
I'm either like I can talk to friends. I pray on my way. Like that's my time with me and God. Like we have a whole conversation. Like he's sitting in the passenger seat. I can say whatever, and I am not judged. Nobody has anything to say. Sometimes it's in silence. Sometimes it's worship music. Sometimes it's Beyonce. Like let's just be whatever I need that day. My car ride, because for some people that may be the only time that they have. Your car ride is
true. And for a period of time, that was me. That was the only time where I could have time to myself. Before I went into nursing, I did childcare inspections, and my territory was about 40-something minutes away from my house. So yeah, I've got like 45, maybe an hour in traffic, just to get to my first site visit for the day. So yeah, I had a lot of time for worship music, prayer, trap music, if that's
what you needed that day. That's what the doctor prescribed for that day. You need it. But I think some people realize and take advantage of the opportunities that we have, right? Some people are like, how am I going to find, even if it's 5 minutes, even if you have to wake up early before your kids get up, that's what you need to do. So, really taking care of yourself and being intentional, right? Like we set appointments for everything else. One big thing that I started doing that's self-care that I didn't think was self-care, but it is, I get up in the morning and go to the gym.
Yeah.
Now, let's be honest, my intention was not for it to be a self-care thing. My intention was because I'm trying to be snatched. And that was my original motivation. But I don't like getting up in the morning. I'm not about to lie.
Okay.
It's horrible. But when I get up and I get there and I get my workout on, the feeling afterwards, I just feel good. I feel like I'm taking care of myself. And then because I get up so early, I'm able to tackle a lot of tasks. So by the time I get off work, that waking up earlier and having more time on my hands is also a stress reliever. I feel like we try to do so much all the time and we always feel like we're on the go and it's unnecessary.
Yeah. And the thing is with exercise is that you, of course, once your body adjusts to it, then it can be self-care because now you have more energy to get through the rest of your day, even if you are getting up sooner. That is something that I do need to get back into because I will admit that I actually felt better through the day when I was exercising. Yeah.
It's sometimes I'm just like, but I mean, honestly, I can tell the difference. So like last week, we kind of took the week off because I was changing. Oh, hi!
Guest appearance. My son. It happens.
Yeah, but see, now they know, but we all, hey, it happens.
Exactly.
So yeah, definitely taking care of ourselves.
We're fine. Did you need something, Chuck?
I just like this game.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, that's one of my mini hats. He's gonna show you the game as he walks by.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Oh, he's closing the door for me. Oh, that was sweet. So, since we were talking about exercising, that kind of segues me into the next suggestion: taking a walk.
Yeah.
So all of us can't afford gym memberships, but
right.
We can always, take a walk around the neighborhood.
Right. And I know that I've had
the block.
Right. I've had some patients that, tell me that they don't feel like their neighborhood is safe enough for them to do that though.
Okay.
And my suggestion for that is like, even if you do it right after school in the middle of the day, right after school, the kids get out of school. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be at night or early in the morning. You can do it and you can make it a family thing. Everybody kind of gets out and walks and, they have their headphones on, and that's how you incorporate your kids and your family, into working out and and walking and getting that exercise, and, everybody feels better. So I definitely.
And there's always a lot of shopping malls have walking programs, and they actually have like the routes and markers, like you've done a quarter mile at this point and a half mile. So there's ways to get it done if you make it a priority.
Right. So the biggest thing is making it a priority. That's de-stressing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to cut people off. That's a word. That's a word in itself. Sometimes I am very notorious. All my friends that know, Charlotte tries to do what is called the most. So I will try to look at Eve's face. I will try. I'm like, you know what? I am going to go to the gym, walk the dogs, come back, make breakfast, lunch, and dinner, go to work, come home, write a paper, maybe 3. I've had to
volunteer at the soup kitchen and
go
to church, and
I want to save the world.
Sit on the women's board and run the children's church. And
okay, thank you.
And then I'm gonna come back home and make brownies, and then.
And then I'll like, oh yeah, and then I'm also going to start an orphanage in Africa.
Right.
Okay. But while my heart is good, I think that sometimes when you are a notorious giver, you feel wrong saying no. But it's completely appropriate to let people know that you have limits, you have limitations. I have to tell people all the time, I'm not available on Sundays. I'm not available for lunches, dinners, brunch, none of that. It's the day where I'm home, I rest, we go to church, and that is that is the day that I take my Sabbath, and I just rest and I let God be God, and He can do all things. I don't need to worry about anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So I work really hard during the week. And on the weekends, I'm a lazy bum, and that's okay, because Team No Sleep is a really, really dumb thing that we need to get away from. And I know that's not very articulate, but it is insane. Like
it doesn't make any sense. You need sleep to function.
Yeah, you get to recharge. Just how you recharge your phone, you need to recharge your body.
Yes.
That's a whole nother segment in itself that we will be doing. We'll be talking about sleep.
Right.
Sleep and the effects, because people don't know. I think I saw something that lack of sleep was almost equivalent, like when driving, it was talking about driving under the influence, like driving drunk.
What makes sense to me.
We hope that you guys have enjoyed the segment on self-care. It's Self-Care Sunday. Please get off of social media now that you've tuned in to Your Healthy.
Right.
And
unplug, but after you watch this.
Unplug after this. So we will be sharing just different tips. We invite you guys to share your tips in the comments of all the different self-care methods and things that you found. Find free things in your community. Eventbrite, I just got put onto Eventbrite. Eventbrite is everybody puts events on there. and you can go and find free things to do in your community. So if your self-care is like, I like to go out and meet and network, like they have all kinds of free stuff. A lot of them involve food.
Yeah.
And that's always a plus.
It sure is. And speaking of, Facebook now has a separate app just for events. I know, and I just discovered this like today, like seriously, because part of my hesitation sometimes with wanting to unplug from social media is that I want to find things to do and see if I can actually attend. So that's why I would like stay on Facebook, but now there's a separate app just for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man. So we hope that you guys have enjoyed this. Self-Care Sunday is here to stay.
Yes.
And every Sunday we will be posting self-care tips, things that you can do. There are so many things, and we want to promote health, but again, like I said, we want to promote self-care. That means clearing your mind, taking a break, unplugging, getting rid of those like toxic relationships, toxic situations that you don't have to be in. Like that stuff literally is killing you. It's not just irking you, it is killing you. Those chronic stress situations.
Right.
So we are here for your whole health because your health is lit.
Yes.
And we will holler at you guys later.